And off to the races we go. And good morning. I'm your friend Scotty Ray. It is Thursday. We're still chilly, folks. We're right there at that freezing degree mark between 31 and 32, depending upon where you are this morning. Nippy, isn't it? Sure is. Do hope your day is starting out well, as we'll have sunshine today, believe it or not, reaching to about 65. It's going to be great weather. We'll look at your forecast here in just a little bit. We've got all that lined up for you today. We do hope you'll hang around and learn a few things with us as we get this underway. We do have a bit of fog if you're going to be traveling west of Meridian, Mississippi. Let's pull this up for you here on Meridian Honda radars. We'll go over to Vicksburg. Right there at the bridge, you're going to get into a lot of fog there, all the way into Tallulah, there between there and Delhi, Louisiana. So if you got to go that direction this morning, a little bit of fog, it'll burn off in a little bit. So please be careful in those areas. Everything else looks good. Up here in the Delta, of course, flash flood watch. It's been kind of hanging around as we get ready for rain in the forecast this weekend. All the details on that, but the big hint is it'll start Saturday night, continue on Sunday. Wet. Enjoy today and, well, Saturday. All the way through Saturday, it's going to be good. Get to do some outside events, hopefully. We'll be right back. Let's head out to the church. Let's go to Collins. We'll get a good word for the day.
Have you ever been to Ruby Falls in Chattanooga? I've been there one time, and I remember when they take you down into that dark cave where the falls are, they get everyone still, and they turn out all the lights. You can't see anything, and you don't dare move because you couldn't find your way. It was fun at first, but I was glad when they finally turned the lights back on. Can you imagine living in that kind of darkness all the time? Paul says in Ephesians 5 that before we are saved, we lived in constant spiritual darkness. In verses 8 through 10, he says, "For you were once darkness, but now you are light in the Lord. Live as children of light, for the fruit of the light consists in all goodness, righteousness, and truth. Find out what pleases the Lord." Before we are saved, our lives are characterized by spiritual darkness. In our sinfulness, we can't find our way to God. As believers, we are now light in the Lord, and we are challenged as children of the light to find out what pleases the Lord. As we give ourselves to the reading, meditating, and studying of God's Word, we see more of what pleases the Lord. The fruit of that comes from living that life is characterized by goodness, righteousness, and truth. None of us have reached perfection, but if you're a believer, aren't you glad God turned that light on? Change begins in you.
The Change Begins in You is brought to you in part by Piggly Wiggly of Collinsville, Patrick Allen Companies, Mitchell Tire and Wrecker in Collinsville, and Mowdy Cabinetry. And welcome back. I do hope your morning is going well. Odie's in the house. He's getting ready for our morning show. If you were worried about Scotland, well, occasionally it does cross your mind as we find out they've been looking for someone who broke out for 5 days in Scotland. Well, actually, it was a monkey that had been gone for 5 days, made an escape from the zoo. And, well, they used today's technology to find him. After 5 days, he was found with a drone. They followed him around for a couple hours before they could move in and, well, bring him back to his cage. He must have been a bad boy. I don't know. I really don't know a lot about zoos and things, but they seem very concerned about him being on the loose. They caught him, and he's back in there, if that was at the top of your worrying list this morning. Now, we see many, many different things, as we saw last year that Walmart would be closing some stores. Well, that's the underperforming that, well, probably due to shoplifting and things like that. The profit margin just isn't there. As we see that they're going to be expanding, here's the good side of things. 150 stores. They've got a few stores that are small that they're going to expand to supercenters, but most of these will be brand new stores as they expand to over 4,700 stores in the U.S. Also, I think they're going to be putting in about 30 new Sam's stores across America. So there is expansion still going. That's good. A former senator from Missouri, maybe you know her. She was the first woman representative in Missouri, has passed away. Mel Cochran, bless her heart. She was 90 years young. She has passed away. We pass along condolences to her and her family as we do this morning. Al, what am I talking about? The artificial intelligence. If you remember, there was a stink in the United States as Joe Biden made phone calls urging people to vote or not to vote a few weeks ago. Well, the FCC is stepping up, and they do need to do this. Al can be tricked into manipulating voices, anything it wants to do, as we all know what's going on with Taylor Swift and the videos out there. And it looks real. The voices are also extremely real. You wouldn't know that it's not the person calling you. The FCC is moving to criminalize anyone that uses Al to generate robocalls. We do hope this happens because it's not right. And this would also apply, as we know that we've been seeing a trend of this, to where people's children or grandchildren call home and say they're in trouble and need money. It's wrong, and well, it's bad guys using good things for bad things, if that makes sense. FCC looks to make this a federal crime, and they should. I think I agree with that. There's a big argument going on TikTok, which has become huge these days, over music. Universal Music Group is set to remove songs from TikTok after they have not met a deal. Of course, there was no deal with Facebook and all that. You can't air any. But there was on TikTok. We'll see what becomes of that as we watch it. Have you ever thought just how much money is spent on elections? I saw a figure just in the last 3 months of what Trump had spent on attorney fees fighting all these legal woes. It was $27 million, and that's just a 3-month window. Nikki Haley, and y'all think about what could... I know this puts money on television, it puts it on newspapers, and the advertising industry is, in general. But as we look at the budget of what Nikki Haley has spent, there was no way she was going to win, but donors gave, get this now, $55 million in the beginning. That's what she started out with. It's, well, as you know, the old saying of you can hear the fat lady singing. We've all heard that in our lives. She's humming pretty loud right now because Haley is down to $3.5 million left in her war chest. It's not likely to be replenished, as she will fade away and lose the election. But $55 million. Y'all think about that. What good could that have been done? Communities that need things, and no matter what I say, that's never going to change. It's going to be a lot of money dumped into political ads, as we all know, because people are trying to get this side to win. It's America, and it will always be that way. I can't change anything. I'm just pointing out just how much money is spent there. Now, I don't have the figures in all fairness of what the others have spent, not handy in front of me, but it's something to think about. One person, $55 million down the drain. Didn't have a chance in the beginning, did she? She'll sell some books. Did you see this in Washington, D.C.? It was a spree of carjackings. A man who served in the Trump administration was wounded during that as they took his car. I think somebody else was hurt really bad. Carjacking is a thing and happens every day across America. As we continue looking here, let's see what else is happening here. But we're going to get into this on the morning show, but national news is Lauderdale, Mississippi makes headlines. Michael Cassidy is who I'm talking about. You know Michael. He nearly won a couple of times, or at least once. Was a good contender in a race. They're upgrading charges on Michael. As we spoke to him, he came in and talked about this with us, about when he went to Iowa and he tore down the satanic statue, or I guess it was an altar. That's the word for it, to where it was satanic. He took it upon himself to take it down. Officials now have charged him with a hate crime for tearing that down. Do I agree with that? No. It's not a person. It's not a hate crime. It's an object. In the end, I don't think they'll get away with it, but it does try to make it a little bit harder on Michael for a little while. There's still contributions being given to his legal fund. A lot of people have helped out with that, and we're going to watch this. We'll let you know. We'll discuss it this morning coming up. Delwood, Mississippi is where he calls home. Navy pilot, whole 9 yards there. God and country. Very few people would have stood up and done a little something. It was just there, and no one was saying anything. We had a structure collapse in Boise, Idaho, at an airport hangar. 3 dead. Others are critically hurt during this. That's bad news as we see that this morning. I'm shocked, and I really, and I can't believe this was not already in place. Something doesn't add up to me. TSA, 400 airports. They're saying they were not using facial recognition as you entered airports, but it is coming. I can't imagine them not already using that as you board an airplane to hunt for criminals. Now, we all know that you go into a bank, you go into a casino, that's the first thing that happens. Or at least most people knew that. It checks records of people that possibly might be a criminal entering these places. I can't believe that U.S. airports wouldn't already have this. But that's what it says, so we'll go with that. Because bad people want to take over airplanes and do bad things. Well, I would have thought that would have been some of the first technology where it was used. Some things shock you as we see that we go to Michigan. A 79-year-old lady has been arrested. What did she do? Well, I guess I just got to say what she did. She sent inappropriate pictures to people under the age of 18. We'll leave that at that and move to the next story. Hello. As we see the end of an era in Oakland, California. We used to have him. It's already gone from Meridian. The Shoney's big boy. Y'all know him standing out front. We had one in here in Meridian one time. They're closing it. Been there for 54 years. An In-N-Out location nearby has really put the hurt on them. They're not being able to make the bills is what it amounts to there. Do you remember the TV show, that 70s show, Danny Matheson? The redheaded guy that lived down in the basement, was on the couch all the time. I cannot remember how many women accused him of, more or less, it was the date rape. Yep. He was sentenced. He was found guilty. His life is fixing to get a little bit harder because he's been in one of those kind of a plush prison at this point. He's now being moved to a maximum security prison. They won't be as nice there. What was it Beretta said? If you do the crime, you got to do the time. He's paying for his sins. Now, as I mentioned a moment ago about the owl thing, artificial intelligence, it looks as though Congress is pushing a bill that will change, and Taylor Swift, I guarantee you, will be at the first of the line on this. And there needs to be some examples made out of this. Artificial intelligence, as we mentioned, all of it was removed. It was put out, 2 weekends ago, to where someone used Taylor's face for, and I don't know any other way to word it other than what the word is, pornography. They used her image in this and posted them all across America and across the world. Congress is looking to be to where if someone does that to you, you can sue them. Legitimate. You can ruin somebody's reputation. Why? You can't tell the difference. It is that good. So look for that to go through Congress before long. It needs to be done. And that's just a bad thing that we watch every day that is happening across America. We'll be right back with this forecast as we get this day underway. Don't rush off.
At the Back Porch, we're bringing families back together for fun, food, and all the things you love to enjoy around your home. Every event starts with a great grill, great cookware, and accessories. Add in some locally sourced meat and dairy, along with frozen vegetables and casseroles, and over 500 brands of spices and sauces. Relax in our chairs, swings, daybeds, and have fun with our cornhole boards. From coolers to trailers, we have everything you need. When you see the big chair, you've made it to the Back Porch.
Sanders Gas, Sanders Air and Heat is your full-service propane supplier since 1946. We take pride in ensuring reliable, friendly service to our customers. We also provide safety tune-ups related to propane, air conditioning, and heating systems, keeping our community efficient and safe. I'm Chuck Sanders, and yes, we're local.
And welcome back, and we did get a funny during the commercial break. Al Davis contacted me. He goes, "Hey, I just want to remind you, it's not Al, it's AI. Artificial intelligence." That's right, I did make a mistake on that. Ruh-roh. So, Al, you're out of the clear now. We're not after you.
Your forecast is brought to you by EMEPA, your Touchstone Energy Cooperative.
Let's get into our record highs and our record lows today to find what those temperatures done and, well, where they were. As we go back, let's pull it up as we start today. 1950, we had a high of 81. we're not getting near that. 65 is the best we'll do today. Back the following year, 51, we had a record low of 12. As you can see, these temperatures have been doing this for years upon years. Of those who say climate, well, you see the facts are there. As we look at what happens today, 65 to 70 is the best we'll get here on the thermometer side. 69, they've changed this. Originally, they had it set at 70, and they changed it in the last 30 minutes. Now 65 as we go to Columbus, 67, even warm there on the Natchez area on the Mississippi River. As we go across to Birmingham, 61, 63 in Tuscaloosa, and we should see that in most parts of Alabama, even over to Auburn. We'll see 62 degrees for that high. As we look across this warmer weather, as we see its effect now, only in southern Florida we got that cooler temperature out in California, but that's not anywhere close, is it? As we look at the 7-day forecast, 65 today, down to 38 tonight. No chances of rain. A chance of fog in the morning. Well, it will reach that 70-degree mark to end the week. 41 for a low tomorrow night. Not as cold. During the daytime hours on Saturday, just a slight chance of rain. Now, this is, I guess the word is teeter-totting. As we look at the overnight hours after 9 o'clock on Saturday night, we get a 90% chance of rain. Moving into Sunday, still hovering at 80% chance of rain. So the odds of you getting wet are pretty high headed to church on Sunday. Back to work on Monday with a slight chance of rain there, 20% chance. And then back to the 60s again, 64 by Wednesday of next week. Ooh, and as we move all the way through the 15th of the month, Valentine's Day, it looks to be 57 for a high and 33 that night. No rain. Great for a date night there. Good one there. As we'll see rain on the 9th. Look at that, 68. Big chances of rain through there for a few days. But we're still seeing 60s. It will be over this peak here on that second leg of the month that we could start seeing some cooler temperatures to wind out in February. We'll watch this. It's still some discussion going on as we look forward past those 2 weeks. Again, it's a long way off, and nothing can be decided within hours. We know that about weather. It always works that way. What's happening with the fishing forecast today? Well, we'll go to Chet's Paint and Body. Chet tells us the best time will be this afternoon. Let's call it 5 o'clock. Be there by 4:30 until after dark through 7. Now, you still had a good chance up through 6:30, but the chances are waning off as we still got that 32 weather out there. And on the fishing bank, it's kind of cool, isn't it? Wind is southeast around 5 miles an hour this morning. So wind is not bad at all as we begin this. Chief Randall Davis will swing by in just a little bit. They got a big event coming up in downtown Marion next week. He's going to be here to tell us all about that. So don't rush off. We'll learn a few things with him in just a moment. Odie's in the house as we get this day underway. We look forward to seeing you this morning. Join us, won't you? We'll be back here in just a little bit from the Toyota Meridian studio. Join us. We'll be kicking things off.
The Scotty Ray Report is brought to you by our following partners.